Halo Infinite was probably one of the worst launches of any game at its scale. You're telling me you spent $500 million on this game? On Craig? You gotta be smoking dick, dude. The game launched without the campaign? Are we playing Halo here? I mean, the game launched without Team Slayer as an available option in multiplayer. We had 4 multiplayer playlists. It was the most bare-bone, shitty launch of any Halo ever. I didn't even play Halo 5. I heard that was a pretty bad launch. This one has to be worse. You had none of the fun little game modes. No Infected, no Griffball, no SWAT. You couldn't have figured out how to make SWAT on launch. All you gotta do is just do one-shot headshots. I'm not even talking about no Forge. I know Halo 5, they took a month and a half or so to release Forge. Yeah, try fucking 11 months, buddy. Like, that's like basically an entire life cycle for a Call of Duty game. So by the time it came out, I don't think anybody really cared. A little bit of a foreshadow. The Forge is really good. The Forge is like super cool. I wish they would have released it sooner so that people could actually enjoy it. But, what can 343 do? Just a small indie company, guys. But look, I mean, I love to dogpile. Hating things is one of the greatest forms of community we can find nowadays, but that's not what this video is going to be today. Today, we're going to talk about the campaign, because I think that the Halo Infinite campaign is beyond underrated. I think it's amazing. Look, I get it. It's a little bit of a gimmick fest. The artistic vision definitely lost a little bit of the grime that we're used to with Halo. No Breakin' Benjamin. All we got is this, chill-ass, inspirational rock music. Sure. The Weapon, she's a little cringe at times. Game design, it's basically Far Cry. I mean, they really just kind of copied word for word the Ubisoft open world game formula. But undeniably, if we're just talking like pure fun factor, this is one of the best Halo campaigns. And I'd even go as far to say it can hold its own against the OG 3 Halo campaigns. I mean, on paper, the map is just a slop fest. Go save these Marines by killing all the enemies in the area. Oh, you want to capture a new forward operating base so you can fast travel. How about killing all the enemies in the area? Make sure you kill them all, buddy. Oh, we have these super crazy enemy bases with heavy machinery and fucking tanks and weaponry. Make sure you kill all the enemies in the area. But oh wait, there's gonna be some conveniently easy to access power sources, or like I said, heavy machinery that, you just kind of press a button and then a big glowing things pop up. You thought the Death Star was easily accessible. These bases are created by children. There's no denying that the objectives of all of these side quests that the game gives you are objectively boring. But what I think makes Halo different in this extremely saturated market of open world games is the fact that everything else outside of these boring objectives is absolutely not boring. Halo Infinite has the perfect blend of, modern expected movement mechanics and also classic Halo movement. The first thing I'm going to talk about is obviously the sprinting. Sprinting has been the most controversial thing in Halo ever since they introduced it in Reach and in 4 and in 5. And I think in this game they kind of finally figured it out. A way to satisfy kind of like the old heads and the new heads. You have sprint, it's easy to use, but it just gives you a little bit of a boost, so it doesn't really make it feel that much different than the classic Halo games. Of course, we can talk about the sliding in this game. The sliding is actually pretty incredible. If you combo a nice grapple, you can start flying, and if you fly and then you hit a slide while you're going down a hill or something with the momentum from the grapple, you fucking move. In this game, you feel the weightiness. You feel like a guy in a big suit. And I feel like that's pretty integral to Halo, and sometimes they lose it. But in this game, they did it. I think the movement feels really, really great. The game is just so, crispy. I think this is the best iteration of the battle rifle that we've ever seen. I mean, that thing is fucking crisp. It feels broken to use, which is always awesome for the battle rifle. I actually really enjoy the sandbox in this game. I think all the new additions are really fun. The Mangler is awesome. The Heat Wave is really, really cool. I think a lot of the weapons are good. A lot of them are viable, especially the traditional legendary experience on Halo campaign is like plasma pistol, battle rifle, plasma pistol, magnum. But in this game, you know, the fact that you can access a lot of your guns just through the fobs, I feel like they kind of had to create a new way to balance legendary and to make it more difficult, and making a lot more guns viable. I feel like is a good step, because, you know, I do enjoy the kind of like try hard, like sweat legendary of the past, but this game, you know, legendary still has a little bit of a challenge to it, and you don't have to use the same guns the whole time. The HVTs are some of the coolest little things in the game. I mean, the boss battles aren't particularly unique or like crazy, but they are fun, and some of them are kind of challenging. And the weapons, you get cool variants of, you know, your battle rifle or your sentinel beam, and we got to talk about the arcane sentinel beam, because I'm sure you've seen it on Reddit or TikTok or something. You know, once you get the weapon from the HVT, it's in your fob, so you can access it whenever you want, and what you can do is you can get the arcane sentinel beam, and then you give it to the Marines that are around the base, and you get the Razorback, and you get 4 of those motherfuckers, and you drive around, and everything you see is just deleted. Like, instantly fucking gone. Elite's gone, Brute's gone. Phantoms, they just melt the Phantoms. But before they can even jump out of the ship, they just explode. It's little things like that that make you feel free in the sandbox, and that's like the best thing you can ask for in an open world game. The weapons feel good, the movement feels good, everything feels really polished, and that is something that I just feel like you don't get in any other open world experience. You know, Far Cry, I mentioned that. I mean, those aren't like beloved games necessarily, especially for their quality, but you know, a game like Skyrim, people love Skyrim. Actually, like, fighting enemies and combat in that game, can we be real? It's not that great. It's pretty janky and slow, and it's nothing crazy. Obviously, that game compensates in other ways, but, you know, a lot of games are kind of like the Far Cry, where the enemies that you're fighting are just, you know, guys. They're all pretty much the same. You know, you have some bosses, but most of the combat the whole time, you're using weapons that feel the same, fighting enemies that feel the same. It's just kind of like a monotonous experience. Infinite is still Halo, and what has made Halo great for so long are the enemy variants and the kind of encounters that you can find yourself in. You got grunts, you got elites, you got brutes, jackals, these new flying guys, the fucking hunters. There's so much variety, and there's like a million different combinations of what kind of encounters you can find yourself in. Some well-placed snipers in the high ground with a bunch of ravaging brutes running after you is a completely different experience than, you know, the classic, you know, you got elites and a few grunts and a couple of jackals. The repetitive Ubisoft open world formula does not drag this game down, because the fun that you have with these encounters is limitless. It is something that never gets old. Live combat in RPGs like Skyrim and Fallout is usually probably the weakest factor, but in Halo, it is absolutely its greatest strength. The grapple hook is one of the best grapple hooks of any game I have ever played ever. Picking up the weapons and the fusion coils and climbing mountains like fucking Skyrim would never believe. You're playing with a friend, John Halo 1, grapples onto John Halo 2, and you're fucking flip-flopping and flying on each other. It is awesome. The grapple's definitely super broken. It can get you out of anything, and it makes you just not want to use vehicles most of the time, because you could just like grapple around easier. But I think 343 just didn't give a fuck this time. They put all of their aspect points into the fun factor of this game, and I think it worked beautifully. I haven't even touched the story, which overall, I think is pretty incredible. I think it is fair to say that coming into this game, there was a general disinterest in the story that they created in 4 and 5. So I actually thought it was pretty genius to just kind of have a fresh start. The game is a mystery. The story from before is over, but how did it end? And how did Chief and the rest of the crew end up in this spot that they're in right now? And through uncovering the mystery of what happened to Cortana and kind of what the fate of humanity is, you get some foreshadow into what the new story is going to be. And this new story with this incredible game is something that I feel like is going to be way more interesting to me and to everybody else as well. I liked the ideas that they had in 4 and 5. I think exploring Master Chief's humanity is interesting, and his relationship with Cortana was always one of the most interesting parts of Halo. So diving deeper into that was of course not a bad idea. But a lot of the writing in 4, and I'm gonna be honest, I can't even really talk about 5. I haven't played it, and I have no ability to play it because I'm only on PC. But I haven't heard it's great either. The scenes between Master Chief and Cortana, especially at the end of Halo 4, it was too much. It felt like too much. It didn't feel like their dynamic that we had seen for 10 years at that point. But I really do think that exploring Chief's humanity is the answer to where the Halo story should go, and in Infinite, I think they do a really good job. He doesn't really talk that much, except for the funny little one-liners.
It's locked down. Requires a hack.
Okay. And you can do that?
No.
But there's a few moments in the game where he opens up and you can really see the pain of losing Cortana. There's a moment in the game where the pilots, one of like the 3 main characters, you got Chief, the Weapon, and the pilot. And the pilot sort of acts as us, just a normal guy. He's a little bit of a bumbling idiot, like pussy baby, but so would you be, bro. Like, we would all be freaking and shitting bricks if we saw a brute or an elite. Do you know how tall the elites are? Are you kidding me? He's a normal guy, and he has one moment where he just doesn't believe he can do it, which is reasonable, and the Master Chief sees this, and Chief gives him this perfect little pep talk and talks about how, sorta he's scared too sometimes, but you just gotta do it, and you just gotta stand up and fight. And it's a beautiful moment, and it's one of my favorite moments in the entire game. I think in that moment, 343 crafted a perfect exploration of Chief's humanity. Other than that moment, there's a ton of twists and turns and fun villains and cool set pieces. Basically anything Forerunner is awesome in this game. These are the best Forerunner facilities that Halo has ever had. The ending is perfect. It fills you with hope and excitement for whatever's coming next. You have a really, really great moment with the Weapon. I think 343 finally figured it out. Just on all aspects of the game itself, they figured it out. Outside of monetization and release schedule and all this other nonsense that I really wish we didn't have to care about, or they didn't make us care about. But yeah, I mean, it's a great game. And I don't know what they're gonna do next. I don't know if it's gonna be open world. I don't know if it's gonna be even good or when it's gonna come out. But at the end of the day, on its own, as an experience, Halo Infinite is an incredible game. And I do think that 343, at least for the campaign, should feel pretty proud of themselves. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for today. I will be making a video on Forge. So, let me know if there's any, Forge maps or experiences that you've been really enjoying, and I'll try to check them out. But yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching, guys.